In a speech delivered November 10 at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia, Secretary of State John Kerry appeared to be intentionally amping up the already incendiary rhetoric aimed at those scientists and citizens who expressed doubt or skepticism about or opposition to the wild, apocalyptic claims of the climate change choir. The science tells us unequivocally, those who continue to make climate change a political fight put us all at risk, Kerry said. And we cannot sit idly by and allow them to do that. This was not the first time Secretary Kerry has made comments that lightly veil an implicit threat aimed at climate realists. Kerry, who has been beating the anthropogenic, man-made, global, warming drum loudly all year long, in preparation for the imminent UN climate summit in Paris, made a similar comment before the Atlantic Council in March. When an apple falls from a tree, it will drop toward the ground. We know that because of the basic laws of physics. Science tells us that gravity exists, and no one disputes that, Kerry said, in statement of supposedly unassailable logic that should end all debate. Science also tells us that when the water temperature drops below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, it turns to ice. No one disputes that, he continued. Then came the logical clincher. So when science tells us that our climate is changing and human beings are largely causing that change, by what right do people stand up and just say, well, I dispute that or I deny that elementary truth? Yes, by what right? After all, they are putting us all at risk, right? And we cannot sit idly by and allow them to do that, can we? Kerry doesn't say what we can do to stop these doubters who put us all at risk, but he is playing to a powerful global choir that has already been salting public opinion with invective, the purpose of which is to demonize and criminalize those who challenge the elementary truth or the settled science of the alarmists. Recently, as we have reported, U.S. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, D-R.I. called on the Obama administration earlier this year to use the Anti-Mafia Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO, to persecute heretics who cast doubt on the dogma. That tyrannical proposal, which should have earned Senator Whitehouse an immediate recall effort, was echoed shortly afterward when a group of 20 so-called climate scientists sent a letter to President Obama urging him to use the federal RICO statute to prosecute their fellow scientists who disagree with them and publicly expose the fallacies and fraud underpinning the settled science of cataclysmic climate change. Talking Points Memo, TPM, infamously published an article, which has since been removed from its website, entitled, "At What Point Do We Jail or Execute Global Warming Deniers?" Posted under the pseudonym The Insolent Braggart, the profane incitement to violence and intolerance of diverse opinions stated. What is so frustrating about these fools is that they are the politicians and greedy bastards who don't want a cut in their profits, who use bogus science, or the lowest scientists in the gene pool who will distort data for a few bucks. The vast majority of the scientific minds in the world agree and understand it is a very serious problem that can do an untold amount of damage to life on Earth. So when the right-wing tards have caused it to be too late to fix the problem, and we start seeing the devastating consequences, and we start seeing end-of-the-world type events, how will we punish those responsible? It will be too late. So shouldn't we start punishing them now? Very prominent voices in the climate alarmism choir have been priming the lynch mob. James Hansen, the discredited NASA climateer and grandfather of the lobby, called for prosecution of climate catastrophe skeptics for high crimes against humanity. Robert F. Kennedy, Jr., who is notorious for his environmental extremism, has said of climate realists who doubt the UN dogma, "This is treason, and we need to start treating them as traitors." Joe Rome, a former Clinton administration official who now runs the influential alarmist Climate Progress website, published the commenter who ominously threatened climate skeptics, "It is not my wrath you need fear when there is an entire generation that will soon be ready to strangle you and your kind while you sleep in your beds." This may not be an idle threat, as millions of school kids are being brainwashed with emotional agro-propaganda in classrooms across the nation and around the world. Rome later took the comment down, but defended it by claiming it was clearly not a threat but a prediction, and those who detected a threat had misread it. Bill Nye, of TV fame as the Science Guy, recently appeared on the Huffington Post's TV program, where he called on the host to stop using the term skeptic and use the more hateful term denier when referring to climate realists. "We just don't like to use that word, skepticism," Nye told host Josh Zepps. "These people are deniers." In the November 6, 2015 interview with Salon, Nye again hit the theme of tarring opponents with the denier label, censoring them and denying them a place at the debate table. "Part of the solution to this problem, or this set of problems associated with climate change, is getting the deniers out of our discourse," said Nye. "You know, we can't have these people, they absolutely toxic." Nye was one of the signers of a letter sent to media organizations last December calling on journalists to stigmatize agro-skeptics as deniers. Among the dozens of academics who signed the letter, which was larded heavily with psychologists and social science professors, were, notably, the two academics most responsible for concocting the fraudulent claim that 97% of scientists endorse the overwhelming consensus that agro is a serious danger, John Cook and Naomi Orskis.